Hey, so I want to speak about um, how, you know, a lot of Christians on YouTube, when they don't like somebody, they spend sometimes a huge chunk of their time on channels, or sometimes they have their own channel, commenting and sometimes even, making video after video about somebody that they don't like. And um, look, that's not redeeming the time. And if you get obsessed with somebody, then you're going to end up yoking up with other people that are obsessed with that person. And a lot of times those other people are heretics. And I've seen it all my Christian life. And I give you many examples. Um, you know, an obvious one is people who don't like Steven Anderson. Look, I don't like Steven Anderson, but I'm not going to dedicate a YouTube channel as to why the guy's so bad. Okay. Um, if I'm going to spend time on YouTube making videos, I want it to be mostly, gospel centered. And, also, some encouraging videos and things like that. I don't want to, obsess over somebody and have people perceive that, my whole life is based on some obsession with somebody. And look, there's a lot of channels that their whole channel, they're just obsessed with somebody. Sometimes it's Steven Anderson. Sometimes it's, John MacArthur. Other times it's, you know, just their local pastor that they had some argument with. And look, even if somebody's a heretic that you don't like, um, you're still supposed to avoid them. And, you know, if you don't avoid them, but all you do is keep marking them, eventually you'll just yoke up with anybody that doesn't like that person, irregardless of what that person believes that you're yoking up with. You know, if you know, and I could use, uh, you know, David Benjamin as an example. People don't, and look, I don't believe he's a heretic. Okay, let me just come out and say that, because I do believe Anderson and MacArthur and stuff are heretics, but I don't believe David is. People don't like David, and what do? They start hanging out with Calvinists. They start hanging out with Lord Shippers because those Lord Shippers also don't like David. And that's a really poor decision. And if you don't like somebody, um, you know, why do you have to yoke up with heretics just because you don't like somebody? That doesn't make any sense. And even with me, if you don't like me, I always say, there's other places that you could hear the gospel thoroughly preached and defended. I'm not the only person that knows the gospel. Okay, so if you don't like my personality, Find somebody whose personality you like, and just make sure that they're actual gun barrel straight on the gospel, and that their channel isn't, you know, just dedicated to bashing one or two people, because, you know, that's not worthwhile content. And honestly, you know, back to, you know, the people who have these channels, you know, dedicated to just Anderson and New IFB bashing. You know, most of them were legitimately wronged by Anderson and the New IFB, but your channels, you know, it comes off that you're still traumatized and you haven't got over that trauma of being in a cult. And, you know, the only way you get rid of trauma is by moving on from it and walking in the Spirit. And, you know, if you have a platform and your channel is supposedly about Christianity, you know, what good is it to constantly expose the same person after they've already been exposed, even by you? You know, it's a total waste of time. If you have 30 videos of why some guy is a cult leader or heretic or something, you know, you're not going to convince new people after the 30th video. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like preaching to the choir, and the choir's not really being edified. You know, how many people are going to go to hell today? You know? So, instead of, you know, trying to create hate fan groups or whatever about somebody you don't like, why don't you use your platform to preach the gospel? And look, sometimes certain people need to be called out, but then they're to be marked and avoided. Okay, and you know, David just did a video about marking and avoiding. And a lot of people mark, but they don't avoid. And look, if a man be a heretic after the first and second admonition, reject. Okay, it's not after the 30th admonition. It's not after the 50th admonition. It's not after years of you admonishing them. It's after the first or second admonition. And anyways, you know, pay attention who you yoke up with. And even if you're yoked up with saved people, but all your conversations revolve around how you don't like somebody, like if that's the main point of your conversation, that's not true fellowship, because unsaved people can do that. You know what I mean? Muslim people can sit around and talk about how they don't like somebody. There's nothing edifying in that. And I feel a lot of people a lot of people think in such a way that if they're constantly bashing somebody that other people like, it's almost like they think there's a market for that, because you know, they'll get more clicks on their videos, then maybe they'll get some more subscribers from people that also don't like that person, and they just get overall more attention. Okay?